Soso no Frieren. Soso no Frieren is a manga series written by Kanehito Yamada and illustrated by Tsukasa Abe. The series is licensed for release in English in North America by Viz Media and in Spanish in Mexico by Editorial Panini. An anime adaptation of the series by Madhouse premiered on September 29, 2023. As of March 2021, the manga had over 2 million copies in circulation. Plot. The story follows the elf mage Frieren, a former member of the adventuring party that defeated the Demon King and restored harmony to the world after a 10-year quest. In the past, the heroic party included Frieren, the human hero Himmel, the dwarven warrior Eisen, and the human priest Hyder. Before parting ways, they observe the age of meteors together, a meteor shower that occurs once every 50 years. Frieren agrees to return and offer them a better view the next time the celestial event occurs. Frieren then departs and travels the world in search of magical knowledge. Frieren returns to the capital 50 years later, however, humanity has changed, and her former companions have clearly aged. After a final adventure to see the meteor shower, Himmel dies of old age. During the funeral, Frieren expressed her guilt for not trying to learn more about him. Frieren then visits her other former comrades. She accepts an offer to teach and care for Fern, an orphan girl adopted by Hyder. She also receives an invitation to travel north to the resting place of souls and return to Himmel to bid farewell to the hero and express her feelings. To fulfill these requests, Frieren embarks on a journey with Fern while continuing to pursue her passion for learning magic. Frieren's elven nature grants her an extremely long lifespan, causing her to view periods of years or decades as fleeting. This perception of time makes her consider the 10-year adventure with Himmel's group a fleeting experience. The story therefore unfolds over a long period of time, with periodic flashbacks accompanied by the physical and mental development of the characters, as well as Frieren herself. Comments. How many videos and notes have you watched about how Frieren doesn't make sense, and finally, you listened to it or read it, and with a majestic speech, you're told it's a series with a different narrative and that it's similar to this series. I don't know the name of it, and I'm not going to learn it now, but I did see it and loved it. Then, you're told it has excellent and beautiful settings where the protagonist appreciates the passage of time more for a human. It's obviously distinguished by its narrative, which presents a beautiful drama of the protagonists. It doesn't have battles, well, it does, but not many, or that they couldn't be considered battles like in this other series, whose name I don't know, but which is great. And yes, everyone agrees that it's an adventure series, but it's not like the other adventure series, except for this series, whose name I don't know, but I'll definitely watch the new season as soon as it comes out. The conclusion is, it wouldn't be classified as an adventure series, but rather a fantasy series with drama. But the series is about an adventurer after her epic battles where together with her fellow adventurers they defeated the Demon King and now humanity lives a posterity of peace. But an event changed, when she sees her friends again 50 years later, one of them dies. It is then when she realizes that that person will no longer be there if one day she returns, so time begins to be significant for her, because she realizes that it only advances and if you did not take advantage of it with those people who are significant to you, you will regret it. So now our former adventurer embarks on a new adventure, gaining knowledge as always, but also learning what the passage of time means for humans in particular. Shortly after, she witnesses the death of another of her adventure companions, the corrupt priest, as she calls him. But this time she's there to witness his final moments. So before leaving, the priest entrusts his protégé, Fern, to teach her magic. And so our former adventurer's world continues to spin, now embarking on a new adventure with her new pupil. Along their way, they encounter diverse landscapes and settings. Nothing is static here. The conversations are calm, with pleasant tones of voice and no shouting. There's a lot of conversation, perhaps something we don't have in other series, quality conversation like we do here. And as I say, nothing is static. They don't spend too much time in one place, nor do they spend too much time with the same people. Fern takes care of that. She is the accelerator that Frieren needed, because unconsciously she continues thinking about infinite time, but for Fern it is not. That is what makes it different from other series that are considered adventures but with static scenarios where there are almost no changes. Like in this series that I don't know the name, but the drama that it presented was great, although it spent most of the time in a school. Over time, our former adventurer and her new pupil meet a young warrior who is also the pupil of her former companion and joins the group of non-adventurers. Finally, a priest joins them because his dream was to go on adventures. But wait, this series isn't about adventures, even though they're constantly on the move, occasionally having fights, always meeting new people, facing unfamiliar situations, and with one goal in mind, reaching the place of souls, a place where no one has been. But these aren't adventures. The truth is that the series captivates you with its narrative, as they say everywhere. In a world where sometimes we go too fast and we don't stop to appreciate the small things in this world, in a world where screams and loud sounds are always present everywhere around us and we hardly hear what we think, even when we sleep, in a world where we rarely pass by a rosebush and we don't even stop to look, let alone smell those aromas, in a world where we no longer have conversations, we just chatter with loud voices and strident sounds with other people but without having a conversation that makes you feel good. And above all, in a world where we have that feeling that there is something more but we don't know what it is, then you see Frieren, and you like it, but then you say that the series is pointless, that series of a former adventurer who embarks on a new adventure in search of knowledge to know what is beyond, trying to find someone who left, but when she was in this world she never knew that one day she would no longer be there, then she sets in motion and doesn't stop, nor will she stop until she arrives to that place. The series has drama, of course, and fantasy, and it's up to each person to decide whether or not to have adventures. In my opinion, that's the main thing. That's all, goodbye.